Previously on Never Stop Learning, we checked out 5 locations in Hamilton with a dark past. But with a city as old as this one, 5 locations just wasn't enough. On this episode of Never Stop Learning, we are delving deep into the archives to uncover 5 more haunted locations in Hamilton, Ontario. Number 5. Tucked into the escarpment behind Battlefield House is Devil's Punch Bowl. This horseshoe falls, resembling Niagara but on a much smaller scale, is a 34-meter drop that offers an amazing view of the city. There are conflicting reports on just how Devil's Punch Bowl got its name, but one legend states that it was named for the pails of homebrew, which during Prohibition were bootlegged in the forests surrounding the falls. Moonshiners would make their goods available to thirsty workers along Ridge Road. It has been said that on dark and moonless nights, one of these long-dead bootleggers can still be found peddling his wares along the Bruce Trail. The red glow from his eyes, a beacon to the devil's brew he offers. This location also has a tragic history of death and despair. Many have lost their lives, both accidentally and on purpose, their bodies being found the next day by hikers in the lower forest. People are drawn to this location when they feel as though they have nothing left and leap to their deaths. A man was also reported to have hung himself near the railway tracks next to the falls. Number 4. If you are looking for stunning views of Lake Ontario, look no further than the hills surrounding Dundas Castle. The building itself was completed in 1835 and was considered to be an architectural masterpiece. It was built by Sir Allan MacNab, a prestigious character in Hamilton's history. This beautiful location has a dark history though, as before the house was even constructed, the site was set up as plague sheds. These sheds would isolate immigrants arriving from overseas with cholera, to which many didn't survive. This site was also the location where 12 traitors were gutted and hung after being found guilty of being American sympathizers during the war in 1812. The most famous ghost of the castle has to be Sophia MacNab. During a wedding photo shoot in 1999, this photo was captured by a wedding photographer. In the window behind the man, a face can be seen, and comparing that to a photo of Sophia, you can't help but see the resemblance. Number 3. Fennel Avenue is a major artery for the city of Hamilton to get people where they need to go. But you might not even realize, tucked across from Mohawk College, you will find a mansion teeming with decay and neglect. The Ackmar House wasn't always this way though. Completed in 1854 by Isaac Buchanan, it was originally meant to be a summer home for the business tycoon. But Isaac fell in love with the view from the top of the escarpment and decided to make it his permanent residence. The interior of the home was beautifully decorated, and the main floor boasts 10 fireplaces. The home itself has seen many occupants over the years, including serving as a field hospital for soldiers returning from the Second World War, and being used by the Hungarian Sisters of Social Service as a religious retreat. It wasn't until a film crew arrived to film a show for YTV that the spirits of the house made themselves known. 2 workers were carrying heavy equipment up the stairs when they both saw a little girl staring at them from the top, but before they could do anything, she vanished. This apparition seems to be the most active. Set crew would hear her laughing, playing, and at times her screams would echo through the home. Other members reported seeing lights that would begin swinging on their own, as well as dogs used on set would refuse to enter certain areas of the home. If you have enjoyed this episode so far, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Number 2. Dundas District Elementary School dates back to 1849. The school itself is littered with gargoyles and decorative crests. The former meant to stand watch over the building and protect it from evil spirits. The true horror at this location dates back to the Christmas tragedy that happened in the early hours of December 25th, 1934. The CNR Holiday Special pulled out of Dundas Station on its way to Toronto with 365 souls aboard. Soon after leaving the station, the train experienced mechanical problems. The brakeman, Edward Lynch, was sent back to the station to call for another locomotive when he spotted another train, the Maple Flyer, barreling down the tracks. Lynch, thinking his train was still on the main line, rushed to throw open the switch to prevent disaster. Little did he know that this one action would lead to so much pain and death. While he was walking back, the crew had already moved his train to the side track, so inadvertently, Lynch had been the cause of this disaster. The speeding train crashed into the Holiday Special, completely destroying the rear car and a portion of the next. Passengers were tossed from the train and fires broke out, causing the people trapped under the wreckage to be burned alive. It was so dark that rescue workers could only help those they found screaming in the darkness. Surviving passengers crawled from the wreckage of the rear car, and the area was littered with the bodies of the dead. This tragedy happened just steps from the school, and it was even rumored that the basement was set up as a makeshift morgue to hold some of the deceased. This would explain some of the spooky reports that have been made about the school. Police were called to the building on a Saturday morning after some of the motion detectors had been tripped, and security reported hearing people inside. Once they arrived, police attempted a sweep of the school to flush out the trespassers. They could hear smashing and the sound of breaking glass echoing through the halls, but upon reaching the top floor, nothing was found to be damaged or out of place. The most famous ghost at the school is named Russell. In the 1950s, he was one of the 5 custodians for the building who took great pride in his work. He was known for his attention to detail, but also for his practical jokes. He even set up a pact with the other custodians. Whoever died first would come back to haunt the school to prove there was life after death. One custodian shared a story about how one evening she prepared a bucket of water to clean the 3rd floor hallway before taking a break. But upon returning, she found that her job had already been completed. On another occasion, both custodians were leaving for the night when they heard the voice of a little old lady calling for help from the top of the stairs. They dared not go back, as one of Russell's favorite tricks was to imitate the cries of helpless women or children in order to get them to rush over to help. These are only a fraction of the stories that people have experienced at this old school. It has been changed in the last few years into condos, and I'm very interested to hear in the comments below if anyone living there has experienced anything out of the ordinary, especially on the 3rd floor. Number 1. The Custom House is one of the oldest federal buildings in Canada. It was originally built in 1860 as a place for all the paperwork for goods coming and going out of the city. The tunnel, below the building ran from the railway yard to the custom house basement and was set up as a place for the homeless to sleep at night. But tragically, one night the tunnel collapsed, burying at least 15 men alive. Since they were homeless and no one even knew who they were, the tunnel was just bricked up, and they are still buried there to this day. The most famous ghost in all of Hamilton is said to live here. Her name is the Dark Lady. It is said that she arrived by ship into Hamilton, but along the way she got too close to the captain and became pregnant with his baby. Not wanting anything to do with her, it is said that he killed her and walled her up into the basement of the custom house. She is very protective of the building, and anytime there are changes that are made, she will let people know what she thinks. On one occasion, she appeared to one of the painters working in the building and told him not to move the mantelpiece or the building, and the workers would be washed away. The painter reported this to the foreman in charge of construction, but the mantle was removed anyway. The next day, the pipes in the basement burst, causing water damage. Another painter was working in the front hallway when he noticed the word murder being written in the fresh paint right before his eyes. So that's 5 more locations in Hamilton where people have had paranormal experiences. If you have been to any of these locations and seen anything out of the ordinary, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it.